Make the Commonwealth green again!
Hello there, JDs and gentlemen. I have a new video of an older build to show you today. This one's a little personal and probably a little bit darker in tone than what you're used to. I'm making this now because I teased it months ago, and also because my skills have grown enough that if I wait to show you until after some other tours, it'll look even more dated next to my other stuff. I also want to get it out of the way before I have the inevitable urge to rebuild the entire damn thing just because one board is out of place. I've been building stuff in Fallout for quite a while now. It's been not only a hobby for me, but at various points in time, it's also been a coping mechanism, and something that I've found some catharsis in. You saw in my coastal cottage build an example of how I take a real-world location and translate it into a Fallout settlement. In that instance, it was a test of my memory, and a way to connect to a place I only get to see every year or two. A place I miss very much when I'm away. I built my own real-life home, in-game, 3 different times. You can probably find the latest version in some of my old live streams. About a year and a half ago, I lost somebody very dear to me. We were a bit estranged at the time, and that made it a bit hard to feel very connected in the aftermath. So part of my bereavement actually took place here, in the Commonwealth. Here I built the last home that we shared. For a couple weeks, I tried to fill in all those gaps and fuzzy places in my memory, and have a place where I could actually go and visit and feel connected to that place and time and person. If I were making clickbait here, I would call this video, "Why Fallout VR Makes Me Weep Openly." But thankfully for my fragile masculinity, I don't have Fallout VR. The other reason I'm posting this video now is because their birthday was this weekend, and inviting you all to our old place felt like a nice way to mark it. I used to live with them in this quirky little cabin in the woods. It started out as a small shack, and then it was expanded several times over the years, from left to right, as you see here. By the time we moved into it, most of it looked very strange, and in many ways made no sense. Unlike this version of it, the windows weren't all busted or boarded up, and there weren't many scrappy plywood patches inside now. So if there are parts of it that look out of place, well, you're right. But that's just how this place was. The cabin had electric heat, but as happens in the wilderness in the winter, power wasn't always reliable, so we had a wood stove and stacked up a full cord right out front here, but I'm not sure it would fit his tens of thousands of followers. The person I lived in this house with was an artist and a teacher, and their creativity is immortalized on these walls. When we step inside, it's the first thing we see as we slip off our shoes and step onto some way too old green shag carpet. Speaking of things that make sense, this. We had a potbelly wood stove that was itself surrounded by baseboard heaters, only in this corner of the room. If any of you ever design your own real-life house, I feel like even if you lack any common sense, this would be an easy mistake to avoid making. Our house was filled to the brim not just with oil paintings, but with sculptures and toys and books, and weights and plants everywhere. If I were making Fallout videos back then, this is right here where I would have made them. This is where my computer was, with a creepy little kind of hidden door back in the corner there. This is the first part of the house that was built. Everything else that we've been through already was added on later. There's a kitchen down here, some storage, and a bedroom upstairs. The wood stove actually used to be in the corner on the left there. There are all these little nooks and crannies to keep random things.
Smells like food. Messy, tasty food.
Now we did have a actual functioning refrigerator door in real life, But this is the place every house guest of ours commented on. I thought it was really cool. A little cubby under the stairs where we kept tinctures, home remedies, medicines, booze, same thing.
Maybe strong sleep here. Feels like good place to strong.
Here's where we kept a lot of camping gear, backpacks, stuff we needed to go hike outside, or stuff for winter, tents, gear. It's a gear closet. We keep our gear in it. Bathroom had one of those doors you can almost see through, which is really great for a bathroom. Highly recommend that. The wall was more intact in real life, but can't recommend highly enough having a shower where all the water gets on the wooden walls. That doesn't lead to things like mold or disgustingness. Probably didn't lead to how all these walls here have deteriorated. There are also these little tiny cubby holes for storing cleaners, cleaning supplies, and annoying people who try and build it with requiring doors that are that small. Last but not least, the lair of the artists themselves. This place was filled wall to wall, floor to ceiling with sculptures. It was also our laundry room, usually full of dirty stuff, and paintings, and more paintings, and more very poignant and beautiful art.
Stuff everywhere. What humans call messy.
There was a lot of paint, but the stacked up paint cans here, it's just a metaphor. It's a metaphor for there being a lot of painting in this room. There's a few final things to show you on the exterior. The first one is, well, if you've ever seen a horror movie, this basement might have been one of the set pieces in one of the horror movies you've seen. If you need to reset the fuse box, get a little mold in your lungs, reset the Wi-Fi, all that happens down here.
Strong not scared of this place. Just not want to stay here anymore.
This little cabin used to be, I think, a makeshift sauna, and it ended up being turned into a small little gathering room where this particular Wasteland artist would teach. Much like Mama Murphy might if Mama Murphy actually stopped sucking on jet tubes. And that, my friends, is the cabin of the artist that I used to live with. I want to thank you all for coming with me on this trip into a, for me, painful past, but in spite of the all-too-real nature of this one, I really can't emphasize enough how helpful this was, even though it was emotionally wrought and challenging from a building perspective. Set aside the backstory for a moment, and the practice of bringing real-world settings into the game will force you to be creative in a number of ways that may never come up when you're just building whimsically from your imagination, or based on what's loaded in your workshop menu. With that, I wish you all a good night. Keep your dear ones close. Tell them you love them. And for the love of Adam, if you don't have a will and advance care directives, fix that now. Your loved ones and survivors will be grateful for it in the unfortunate event that a glowing ghoul gets you by the neck. On a lighter note, there's been a patch to some settlements Rise of the Commonwealth. I'll have a tour of that build later, but trust me when I tell you that you should go check out that mod's new city plan for Bunker Hill. If you're wondering where my upcoming videos have been, they've been piled under 7 different versions of that monumental build. And it is awesome. And I hate it and never want to see it again, but it's really good. You should go. Do it. Do the thing.
Hurry up, human. Strong want to leave here.